The audience enters to see what looks like a giant workshop.
It's come from the idea of, as it were, a workshop of creation.
Maybe it's God's workshop.
There's a big workbench in the centre of the main acting area, and on it I imagine there are prototypes of items that we'll see during the plays themselves. So for example, there might be a model of the Ark, there might be a model of a human being, the sort of wooden model that people used to draw from. The sense of a creator at work and a space where creation happens.
Here we go again. Ego sum, alpha et u. Primus et novissimus. It is my will, it should be so, it is, it was, it shall be thus. I am great God gracious, which never had beginning, the whole food of... Parent is set.
The look of the set is all a bit reclaimed, I suppose. A lot of it's made from old doors and used bits of timber. So again, it's all to do with this quality of creation, of use and reuse of materials. And I suppose almost this idea that our universe is a kind of closed shop and things are constantly reinvented into other things.
It's quite a responsibility.
You can do it, Dad. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go!
It's really exciting. It's really exciting to be presenting the script for the first time because it's a new script. We wanted to try it out in front of an audience, and it's in a way, after all the work that Steph's done with the workshops, developing ideas, talking to local people, actually delivering it to the people of Chester seems to me to be, it's almost like the first day of term.
9 orders of angels.
9 orders, here be wittily, that thou made here full right. In thy bliss full bright thee be, and I thy principal Lord, here in thy sight.
Oh, it's wonderful. I mean, essentially what we're trying to do is give a flavour of the plays. And to that end, what we are attempting to do is read from the script excerpts so that people will get an idea of how it's set and how it will go. And then Peter, the director, comes in and explains what's happening in between us doing the lines.
We see Adam and Eve cast out into the wilderness, and slowly the world fills with sin, which God washes away with what we all know as Noah's flood. Now that play will be played in full with music and children and beautiful animals, as well as graphics on the big screens. But tonight, we move directly on to a young woman working in a coffee shop who finds herself being sung to by a beguiling stranger.
It's so brilliantly written that the words kind of speak for themselves, and the kind of emotion is kind of easily found in the words. And the rhythm kind of does the work for you, really.
It's really quite strange because we're not full out performing and just reading. It's a difficult balance to get between performing and just reading the words. But it all seems to be going good and we're enjoying it, so hopefully everyone else is.
Hail be thou, Mary, mother free. Full of grace, God is with thee.
Sorry, we're closed.
Amongst all women, blessed thou be, and fruit of thy body.
Closed.
Mary, don't dread thee naught this case, with great God found thou hast, amongst all others, special grace. Therefore, Mary, conceive and bear, I tell thee, a child. Jesus his name shall be, so great never none be as he, called God's Son.
It's quite weird because you don't know what people's reaction is going to be, because the last 2 that we've done have been very different, and to some extent this is almost going back to the original in a way. You can almost slightly sense the shock of the new, but it's actually the shock of the very old.
During the interval, there'll be lots of things going on, probably in here, probably in the cloisters. But as the audience comes back into the auditorium, they'll see a short film which will tell the story of Jesus' teachings in the city of Chester today. And that will culminate in his entry into Jerusalem on a donkey. And we will also see him at the end of that film walk up to the doors of the cathedral and as he walks through the doors of the cathedral, he will then walk on stage for real, and we will go into the Last Supper.
I really enjoyed it, and I mean they handled the material vocally beautifully. A little harder in the second half of it to be quite clear what they were getting at, because it was excerpts and they were multi-rolling and at speed in terms of how much time they had.
Some people seem to be very surprised that it is as lyrical and poetic as it is, and some are very positively surprised at how much of the flavour of the original medieval plays is in there. I think some people were worried that it was going to be very modern and they weren't going to recognise it, and it'd all be done in jeans and t-shirts. So I think some fears have been allayed, and I hope some people have been inspired. I mean, I've certainly had people coming up to me and asking to sign up.
Well, I think an awful lot of them are thinking, now which part can I play? Which part will I get? There's an awful lot of that about, and looking around the room, and so many, I shouldn't say old faces, but familiar faces. There are a lot of people here who will be going for specific parts.
I'm glad to have the opportunity to hear the script at this early stage, because I will be auditioning. I want to be part of it. I was in 2003 and I will be again.
I, Matthew, bear witness.
I, Mark, now say that they were warned by many a way.
I, Luke, on the earth living, my Lord works in everything.
I, John, the evangelist, bear witness to all that my Lord saith here.
Once everyone is gathered, we witness the static image of heaven and hell whilst everyone sings. The only exception being the homeless man who, as the lights fade, gets up and walks out into the street, and Gobbet, who watches him go, takes out a CB and says,
"The city is safe. Over and out."
The lights fade to blackout.
They did a phenomenal job in conveying the whole spirit and excitement of the piece. So hopefully we'll begin to start to put together what they've heard, the way the actors were relating to each other and performing with the set model. So they'll begin to get the tiniest flavour and hint of what next year's going to be like.